Tennessee's at-home learning series for literacy. Today's lesson is for all our second graders out there, though everyone is welcome to tune in. This lesson is the fourth in this week's series. My name is Mrs. Ledford, and I'm a second grade teacher at Prescott South Elementary School in Cookeville, Tennessee. I'm so excited to be your teacher for this lesson. Welcome to my virtual classroom. If you didn't see our previous lesson, you can find it at www.tn.gov/education. You can still tune in to today's lesson if you haven't seen any of our others, but it might be more fun if you first go back and watch our other lessons, since today we'll be talking about things we learned previously. Today, we will be learning about the fable, the friendship bridge. Before we get started, to participate fully in our lesson today, you will need two pieces of paper, a pencil, a surface to write on, and there's something called a student packet for ELA, grade 2, lesson 9, which can be found on www.tn.gov/education. Okay, let's begin. We read Pandora's Box in the previous lesson, and we described how characters responded to major events and challenges. At the end of the lesson, you wrote about Zeus in your independent practice. I did too, and I would like to share with you what I wrote. Now, get out your writing so we can share. Do you remember our writing prompt? Our writing prompt had two questions. It asked, what does Zeus do when he hears Pandora cry? What does this tell you about Zeus? Let's see if you answered both questions. As I read, you can compare and contrast what you have written with what I have written. Listen and read along as I read my response aloud. Zeus gets sad hearing Pandora cry, so he adds hope to the box. Did you write about Zeus adding hope to the box? Did you add the details about Zeus being sad when he hears Pandora crying? Let's keep reading. By doing this, Zeus shows that he loves Pandora. Did you write about Zeus's love for Pandora? Was your writing response similar to mine? Kiss your brain. Say, I'm so smart. Today, our goal is to describe the overall structure of the fable, the friendship bridge, and to determine its moral. We will begin with me showing you what that looks like, and then there will be time for you to practice on your own with my support. Finally, I will assign you some independent work you can complete after the video ends. We will be reading another classic tale today, but this time it's called a fable. Can you tell me what a fable is? A fable is a short story intended to teach a lesson called the moral of the story. Let's review. Are fables long stories or short stories? Correct. Fables are short. That's right. The lesson that the fable teaches is called the moral of the story. Very good. Now, let's look at the cover of our story together today, boys and girls. Okay, the title of the story we're reading today is called The Friendship Bridge. This fable is by Leslie Favor, and the illustrator is Alexandra Colombo. Let's look closely at the cover and make predictions about what this fable might be about. Who do you see on the cover? Yes, I see several people as well, but I see one boy standing by himself, and I wonder if that's not our main character. What are these people doing? Great thinking. They are building a bridge. What do you expect this book will be about? I would agree. It looks like they're going to be building a bridge. But what do you think the bridge is for? Yes, a bridge connects two areas. It usually crosses over water that can be dangerous. I wonder what this story will be about. Let's make a prediction. Great thinking. Let's find out. We can look back at the cover to find more information. At the back cover to find more information. It says a boy watches his village to build a bridge over the river. Who will they encounter on the other side? As we read, we want to write down important details about characters and events, and we're going to need a piece of paper for that now. Can you get out one piece of paper? Okay, boys and girls, what we're going to do is we're going to fold this paper to help organize our work today, okay? So first, what we're going to do is we're going to fold it the short way, or my students call this the hamburger way. And it's okay if it's not perfect. We'll just fold it like this, and then it'll be nice and wide like a hamburger, okay? And then you'll fold it in half one more time, okay? And when you open it up, you should have four sections. One, two, three, four. Very good, boys and girls. So you should have four sections on your paper. Now, any story that you read will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And as we read the text, we are going to concentrate on how the beginning introduces the problem. What does the beginning introduce? Yes, the problem. The middle shows the struggle and how to solve that problem. What does the middle show? Kiss your brain. The middle shows the struggle, and the end shows the solution. What does the end show? The solution. Excellent job. So, beginning, middle, end. You say it with me. Beginning, middle, end. Great. And what do we find in each? Problem, struggle, solution. Say it with me. Problem, struggle, solution. Perfect. As we talk about our story, we will have some hand motions to go with it. When you hear the word problem, what motion should we do? Yeah, if you scrunch up your face like this, you're thinking really hard, you have a problem. So tap your brain. You got a problem. Okay? Do it with me. Okay, next, I want you to think about the struggle. Have you ever played the game Tug of War? That is a struggling game. I want you to imagine you are going to pick up that rope with both hands and you're going to hold on tightly. Now pull it back and forth like someone is pulling on the other end. Do it with me. Now, that is a struggle, isn't it, boys and girls? When you hear the word struggle, I want you to play tug of war with your hands. Good job. Okay, and our last motion is for the solution. When you hear the word solution, I want you to smile really big and point in the air. Okay? So do it with me. Solution? Got it. All right. Let's put them together. Let's make the motions as we say problem, struggle, solution. One more time, everybody. Problem, struggle, solution. That looks amazing. Okay, so I want you to make those motions with me every time you hear me say those words. Now, since we're going to be recording what happens in the beginning, middle, and end of our story today, I want to label our paper with those words. So make sure you have your paper folded into those four sections. And at the top in the left-hand corner, in the first section, we are going to write the word beginning. I'll help you spell it, okay? B E G I N N I N G. Very good. Now let's find the next section. And you can tell by where the crease is in the paper where the next section is going to be. And over here in the next section, we are going to write the word, you guessed it, middle. Let's spell that together. M-I-D-D-L-E. Very good. Now find the next section. It's in the bottom left corner, okay, under where we've written, and we're just going to write it right here. And guess what we're going to write? N-E-N-D. Very good, boys and girls. And we have one more section. So we are going to label that last section moral, the moral or the lesson of the story. So I'll spell moral for you. M-O-R-A-L. Great job, boys and girls. We know fables have a moral at the end of the story, so we can record that at the end of our paper today too, okay? I'm going to write the labels on my chart so it'll be easier for you to see. And when we take notes, I'll write them on my chart so you can write them on your paper, okay? So keep your paper nearby. Let's review what we're going to write in each section. Now, don't write this down, but let's review. So, at the beginning, what do we have? The problem. Good job. And in the middle, what do we have? The struggle to solve it. And at the end, we have the solution. Okay, let's start reading our story together right now. Track along as I read. There once was a boy who lived in a fishing village. On fine days, he sat on the riverbank. He picked up smooth, round stones. He skipped them across the water. One day, the boy was skipping stones on the water. His mother gathered berries nearby. Who are those people who live across the river? The boy asked. His mother frowned. Those people are like monsters. They have been our enemies forever and a day. Don't look at them. It's bad luck. Enemies? What does the word enemies mean in this story? If I read the words around it, maybe I can find out. What does the mother say? Let's read together. Those people are like monsters. They have been our enemies forever and a day. In this book, enemies are people who could hurt you. Good thinking. Why was the little boy not supposed to look at the people across the river? Correct. They were the villagers' enemies. How long have the people of the two villages been enemies? Yes, the mother says forever and a day. Why were they enemies? Isn't it curious? They don't really know why they're enemies. Why do you think they really don't know? Maybe they've just been enemies so long they can't remember why they're enemies. There is definitely a problem in this story. We are reading the beginning of the story and we know that the beginning will have a problem. Great job, boys and girls. Let's get our paper with the labels beginning, middle, and end. What word should I write on my paper about the problem? For my notes, I'm going to write that the villagers across the river have been enemies forever and a day. Okay? As I write on my board, you write on your paper. Villagers. And right now, you don't have to write in complete sentences. We're just taking notes. Great job, boys and girls. Our notes are looking good. Let's keep reading together. All right. One day, the mayor spoke to the people of the village. We have been skillful fishers for forever and a day, he said. Our river is filled with fish. They seem to throw themselves into our nets. We are lucky. What were the villagers good at? Good job. They were good at catching fish. All right, let's look at the next picture on our next page. The mayor spoke again. The wise leaders have told me about something new, something special. It is called a bridge. We will build a bridge over the river. Every man, woman, and child in the village can stand on the bridge to fish. That very day, workers gathered at the river. They brought tools and wood, and they began to build the bridge. Why did the villagers want to build this bridge? Great job. Since they are good at catching fish, they want to be able to stand on that bridge to catch those fish, right? So, what activity starts? The villagers began to build the bridge with what? Tools and wood. I wonder where we could put that in our notes. Well, we already know the problem is that the villagers, we already know that the problem is that the villagers are enemies, okay? And the villagers want to fish from the bridge. So that is a struggle. That's an action. And I'm thinking we are in the middle of our story. So let's record it under the label middle. Write on your paper as I write on my board. The villagers began building the bridge. Villagers began building the bridge. And you know what they were building with, don't you? Tools and wood. And remember, it's okay not to write incomplete sentences right now. You will have time for that later, okay? Let's keep reading together today, okay, boys and girls? I'm going to go to the next page. On the second day, the boy went to the river to skip rocks. He looked across the river. The people over there were beginning to build a bridge, too. Mother, he cried, look across the river. But his mother would not look. It's bad luck to look at our enemies across the river, she said. What happened after those villagers started to build their bridge? Yes, the enemies on the other side of the river started building a bridge. All right, boys and girls, let's look at the next page. All that day, workers cut boards and hammered nails. The bridge grew longer. On the third day, the workers brought their tools as usual. The bridge was long now, but they set to work. They wanted to make it even longer. From the riverbank, the boy watched. What do you think the word riverbank means? I can tell that that word is a compound word, which means it's two words that come together to make one new word. Riverbank. It's river and bank together. This picture shows the boy sitting at the edge of the water. Riverbank means the edge of the water where the land meets the water. Very good. Okay. Suddenly, let's see. Suddenly, the workers on the bridge met workers on the other bridge. The bridges met in the middle. How many days does it take to build a bridge? Yes, 3 days. It is time to think back. What does the boy observe each day? So on the second day, he notices the villagers across the river were building a bridge too. And on the third day, he notices that both bridges are getting longer. Those will make some great notes for our middle section. So write on your paper as I write on my board. So you can put second day, building bridge 2. Third day, bridge is getting longer. Second day, building bridge 2. Third day, bridge getting longer. It's okay if you can't get all of those things down, just as long as you're getting some notes down to help you remember at the end. Okay, so we've got that written down. Third day, the boy notices that the bridges were both getting longer. Now, why don't others notice their enemies building across the river? Yes, they thought it was bad luck. They were not supposed to look over there at their enemies. So this is important to take note too. Let's write under the middle section, the struggle to get a solution. We're going to notice that it was bad luck to look. Bad luck to look. So who's the only person who noticed? That little boy, right? What happens to force these workers on the bridge to look at their enemies? Good thinking. The bridge is going to meet in the middle, and now they are right next to each other. How do you think they feel about this meeting? I agree. I think it would be surprising. It would be a struggle to be next to someone you thought was your enemy or was out to be a monster to you. Make the motion with me as we say it together. It would be a struggle to be next to someone you believed was a monster. So we're going to write that in our notes. They were surprised to see their enemies because it was bad luck to look. Okay? All right, boys and girls. Let's keep reading. Oh, let's see. For a moment there was silence. The mayor walked out upon the bridge. "Why has the work stopped?" he cried. "Is the bridge finished?" And then something happened that had not happened in forever and a day. One mayor looked right into the face of the other mayor. The boy held his breath and waited. What would these enemies do? The boy's mayor turned to the wise leaders. "I was told that our enemies were monsters, but now I have seen the face of our enemy, and he looks like me. What should we do?" The wise leaders gathered in a tight circle to talk. Everyone else waited without a word. Finally, one of the wise leaders spoke. "A bridge is like a handshake. It brings people together in friendship. Those who were once enemies are now friends." The mayor turned back to the other mayor. He held out his hand. "The bridge shall remind us of the friendship between our villages. It shall last forever and a day." Then the mayors shook hands. Villagers on both sides of the river clapped and cheered. Let's talk about what just happened, boys and girls. What did the villagers decide about their enemies? Right, that they are just like them. Their enemies are really like them. They're people too. How is a bridge like a handshake, according to the character in the story? Very good. The bridge is bringing people together in the middle, just like a handshake, right? Good job. What solution does one wise leader promise? Excellent. The wise leader's solution is to make their enemies friends. Okay? So say it with me and do the motion. The wise leader's solution is to make their enemies friends. Where should this information go in our notes? So in the beginning, we've got the problem. In the middle, we've got the solution or the struggle. I'm sorry, the struggle in the middle. And now we have discovered the solution. So, where should we write it in our notes? Yes, at the end. So, write in your notes as I write on my board under the end. We're going to write the wise leader's solution. The wise leader's solution. You're doing a great job. Is to make their enemies their friends. Is to make their enemies their friends. Wise leader's solution is to make their enemies their friends. I'm curious about something else in this story. I'm wondering why the author wrote this certain section. I'm going to reread this section so we can talk about it, okay? The mayor turned back to the other mayor. He held out his hand. "The bridge shall remind us of the friendship between our villages. It shall last us forever and a day." Then the mayors shook hands. Villagers on both sides of the river clapped and cheered. You're going to have to think really hard for my next question. Why did the author add that second paragraph about shaking hands and people cheering? Why do you think the author added that? That's challenging. I think the author added that second paragraph to show the reader that people from both villages were happy to be friends, right? Okay, so the two villages lived happily as neighbors ever since. All right, boys and girls, I really enjoyed that story. How does that story ending solve the problem of the fishing village? Let's look at our paper. What did we record for the problem? Yes, we wrote villagers across the river have been enemies forever and a day. So, what did we record for the solution at the end? Yes, the wise leader's solution is to make their enemies their friends. So, how does the story ending solve the problem of the fishing village? Excellent thinking, scholar. They are now the enemies are not monsters. They are just like them. They can be friends. So what lesson does it teach these villagers? Good thinking. The villagers learn they can't believe something without knowing why. They thought they were enemies and monsters just because it had been like that forever and a day. They learned they were wrong. Can you think of another lesson this story teaches? The moral of the story is that you may think someone is your enemy, but they're actually just like you. I'd like to write that down in our notes under the moral section. You may think someone is your enemy, but they're actually just like you. All right, boys and girls, now it is your turn to demonstrate your understanding of the story, The Friendship Bridge. You are going to respond to a question. And you're going to try to write your answers this time in complete sentences. Remember, a complete sentence has a subject and a verb, and it has a complete thought. It has a capital letter and an end mark. Okay, I'm going to read the prompt, and then we will read parts of the story and part of our notes to answer this prompt. Okay, so let's read the prompt. The boy's mother says it is bad luck to look at their enemies. Does this end up being true? What lesson do the people learn? What is the moral of this story? So let's look back at our prompt and think about what lesson do people learn? What is the moral of the story? And suddenly the workers on the bridge met on the other bridge and they met in the middle. And for a moment there was silence. And the mayor walked out onto the bridge and he asked, "Why has the work stopped? Is the bridge finished?" And they held their breath and waited, and what do these enemies do? The boy's mayor turned to the wise leader. "I was told that these enemies were monsters, but now I've seen the face of the enemy, and he looks just like me. What should we do?" All right, boys and girls, so I want you to think about these parts of the story, and I'm going to show you the prompt one more time, and you're going to get out your second piece of paper. And I'm going to read the prompt to you two more times so you have time to write it on your paper, okay? So the prompt says, the boy's mother says it is bad luck to look at their enemies. Does this end up being true? What lesson do the people learn? What is the moral of the story? One more time. The boy's mother says it is bad luck to look at their enemies. Does this end up being true? What lesson do the people learn? And what is the moral of the story? We'll talk about your writing tomorrow. I enjoyed working on recording details of the structure of a fable today, the friendship bridge, and determining the moral of the story with you today. Thank you for inviting me into your home. I look forward to seeing you in our next lesson in Tennessee's at home learning series. Bye-bye.